Down here to Foley Square with family, friends, and loved ones of people that have been killed unjustly by law enforcement in Westchester County. When you watch the news and you see the U.S. Attorney, Brett Barrera, discussing politics, but he's not discussing people. People's lives have been lost because law enforcement violated policies and procedures of training. And as a national law enforcement organization, we say if an officer who is properly trained by a certified institution of law enforcement goes in a community and violates those policies and training, he is no less than a criminal himself. So he should be handled as any other criminal that's in your community. Charges should be brought forth. We also feel that the district attorney, Janet DeFiore, has not served the people in true justice. We also feel that there is a need for an independent prosecutor in questionable police shootings and police criminality, because the DA's office is too close to the police departments in Westchester County, and it's just a reflection of other counties throughout the nation. They are going through the same discussion now on Ferguson. They're talking about the same issues that we have been talking about for the last 10 years in Westchester County. New York has its own Ferguson, and it's White Plains, it's Mount Vernon, it's Yonkers, it's Greenburgh, and it's also Westchester County Police. We have the same issues as they have. We have lack of representation of African Americans in the 43 municipalities. We have lack of African American representation in police management. So we do face the same issues as they face out in Ferguson. But Ferguson, it was good enough for the United States Attorney General to visit Ferguson, but we have heard nothing as citizens of Westchester County from the Department of Justice or the U.S. Attorney Brett Barrera on the deaths of these young men. Why should families have to find out the truth in federal deposition, as in the case of T.J. Henry, as in the case of Kenneth Chamberlain, as in the case of many other incidents in Westchester County, when law enforcement fails to be truthful and to be honest and just in proper paperwork and accountability of their officers? We should not have to wait. So that's why we're here today. That's why we're standing here today. And we're not only asking for an investigation of the cases, we're asking investigation of the investigators of the DA's office of Westchester County, because they have failed their due diligence for truth and justice. And that's all these families ask. They're not asking for any special treatment. They're just asking to find out the truth in the initial investigation. Because when they go to federal deposition, they find out a different story. They find out a different story that the district attorney tells the press. So we are here today to say enough is enough. Our lives count too. Not just in Ferguson, not just in Florida, but in Westchester County too. And standing with me is the son of Kenneth Chamberlain Sr. and his attorney, Mayo Bartlett. And I will have Kenneth Chamberlain say a few words.
Good morning, or good afternoon. In Westchester County, for those of you who do not know, it is one of the richest counties in New York State. And police misconduct, brutality, and criminality is very prevalent there, just as it is in any of the boroughs in New York City and even nationwide. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Kenneth Chamberlain Jr. And I always go on record as saying that I am not now, nor have I ever been, anti-law enforcement. I am anti-individuals who feel they can do whatever they want to whomever they want without consequences. Detective Christopher Ridley, Samuel Cruz, Delroy Henry Jr., Kenneth Chamberlain Sr. are just a few of the names that have gotten some media attention. The common denominator there is that they are all questionable police shootings. Something that is also common with them is that in each of those cases, there was a failure to indict on a local level, even when the evidence suggested otherwise. So our only recourse is to come to the Department of Justice and try to get some type of accountability. So my question to the Department of Justice is very simple. What are you waiting for? How many more lives have to be stolen before you come into Westchester and do what needs to be done? When I sit back and I think about this situation, and we talk about some of the changes that need to take place, we talk about reform. Now, that doesn't just mean training or retraining of officers. We are talking about that, along with possible psych evaluations that continue throughout their training. We are talking about how they are recruited. And of course, we want to push for legislation that will call for independent prosecutors in questionable police shootings. Because as Mr. Jones just said, you cannot have a police department investigating its own officers, nor should you have a DA's office that works closely with that department on a day-to-day overseeing those investigations. It is an inherent conflict of interest, and proven by the lack of indictments, there are no full and fair investigations. So again, Department of Justice, what are you waiting for? Thank you for your time, and I'm going to allow my attorney, Mayor Bartlett, to say a few words.
Good afternoon. One thing is crystal clear, that you cannot rely upon the local district attorney's office to prosecute police for police misconduct, especially if that police misconduct leads to the death of an individual. Mr. Chamberlain's father died at the hands of the White Plains Police on a medical call, not when they were responding to any crime. Samuel Cruz died at the hands of the police on a medical call when they were going to render assistance to him, not in response to any crime. Muhammad Bob in Harlem died as a result of the police coming to render him assistance on a medical call. In each of these situations, there was no 911 call that a crime was in progress. There was no crime in progress. How is it that these men end up dead? And in each case, the investigation is a secret investigation. The grand jury is secret. You never know what witnesses are called to testify. You never know what evidence is presented or how it's presented. The district attorney is a political individual who will be seeking the endorsement of law enforcement. So it's extremely difficult, if not impossible, for him or her to have the same zeal when they prosecute police who they're going to be seeking endorsements from. After Mr. Chamberlain was shot and killed, that same night, Police Commissioner Chong went to the news and stated that it was a justified shooting. Now, if you've already made your mind up that it was a justified shooting, how can you now be entrusted with the investigation? It's just counterintuitive. All of these cases are cases where there should be federal oversight, there should be a federal investigation, and we need, in New York State, a state investigator, an independent investigator for police shootings. That will give the people more transparency. It will give the people at least the belief and the possibility that it will not be political. That person should be appointed. They should not have to be elected, should not have to run. They should have a real budget, and they should have teeth. Today, you are limited with the ability to go and make a complaint to the Civilian Complaint Review Board. Quite often the people on that review board are appointees from the police or from the city, and do not necessarily have the ability or the expertise to ask the questions that need to be asked. They may not have subpoena power, and then they don't have the ability to discipline the police if they find wrongdoing. We're here also, and we stand in solidarity with other people who have lost loved ones. And we have Constance Malcolm, who is the mother of Romali Graham, who was shot and killed, and we believe needlessly, in the Bronx, over the possibility that he may have had a marijuana cigarette. So it's not just a Westchester issue, it's not just a New York City issue, and it's certainly not just a Ferguson issue. It's an issue of the way we are policing each other in the United States in its entirety. And if we believe ourselves to be the best country in the world, then I think we have to ask ourselves, why do we incarcerate more of our citizens than any other country in the world? Why do we have more people incarcerated in the United States than China does? How can that be? So we need police reform, we need more accountability, and we have to really revisit what it means to have police in your community. And community policing, as far as we're concerned, is not stop and frisk. It is not selecting people because they're black or brown or for any other trait. Because if it wasn't black or brown people, it would be just as wrong. And it doesn't stop crime. By just simply stopping us, you're not going to stop crime whatsoever. Not at all. I'm going to now hand the microphone over to Ms. Malcolm. Okay, I'm sorry. She's here in support. And we're grateful to have her here supporting us. And we will be supporting her in every step of their struggle. So thank you very much. If anyone has any questions, we'll be happy to entertain the questions now.
I have a question. How come no one seems to really try to establish some sort of community relations among you and the police department? I think it has to start with the youth population, so they could be some sort of mutual understanding in our community. That not everybody's a criminal, or that the police are not there to target minorities.
We're building those bridges right now. Mr. Chamberlain will speak about that, what we're doing right now.
Well, one of the things we've done in Westchester is we formed a coalition. It is the Westchester Coalition for Police Reform, and we welcome the involvement of law enforcement officers. Unfortunately, more times than not, when we reach out to law enforcement and we say, let's sit down at the table, they are very reluctant because they think that it's going to be some type of bashing or finger-pointing session, when that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to create that dialogue with them to say, how can we help each other bring back that trust within the community and law enforcement? But for some reason, they won't sit at the table, and when they do sit at the table, they're sitting at the table with individuals who do not have their finger on the pulse of what's actually happening in the community. So, again, I say right now, openly, I welcome, especially in Westchester and White Plains, New York, I would love to sit down with White Plains Police Department to talk about community relations and how we can work together to strengthen the relationship between the two sides.
And to follow on what Mr. Chamberlain just said, we're going to be having a forum, and we will have a forum at Pace Law